Hello, students. Welcome to Pramati Hillview Academy digital class. Today, I'm going to take up the second session of the chapter, The Lost Leaf. Before we move on to the second session, let us recall what we studied in the last session. The Lost Leaf story centers on two young artists, Sue and Johnsy. Two young women artists, they live together in a small flat. Johnsy suddenly falls seriously ill in the month of November. Later, Johnsy comes to know that she is suffering from pneumonia. Sue comforts her and tries her best to make Johnsy to take interest in things around. But Johnsy looks at an ivy creeper and says that she would die when the last leaf falls from the ivy creeper. Does the last leaf fall? Does Johnsy die? Does Sue save her close friend? For all these questions, today I am going to give answers in this session. Let's begin, children. He was a 60-year-old painter. His lifelong dream was to paint a masterpiece, but that had remained a dream. Sue poured out her worries to Berman. The meaning of the word poured out means share. She told him how Johnsy was convinced that she would die when the last leaf fell. In this paragraph, the pronoun he refers to Berman. Berman was a 60-year-old painter. He aspired to paint a masterpiece. Sue discussed Johnsy's condition with him. She said that Johnsy was sure that she would die when the last leaf fell off the ivy plant. Is she stupid? Asked Berman. How can she be so foolish? She is running a high temperature, complained Sue. She refuses to eat or drink, and that worries me a lot. I'll come with you and see Johnsy, Berman said. Berman got irritated and he criticized Johnsy for being very silly. Sue said that Johnsy was suffering from high fever and she wasn't eating too. Sue was worried about her. Both Berman and Sue went to see Johnsy. They tiptoed into the room. Tiptoed means to walk quietly. Johnsy was sleeping. Sue drew the curtains together and they went to the next room. She peeped out through the window. Peeped out means looking. There was only one leaf on the creeper. It was raining heavily and an icy cold wind was blowing. It seemed as though the leaf would fall any minute now. Berman did not say a word. He went back to his room. They entered the room quietly. Johnsy was in deep sleep. Sue drew the curtains and they went to the adjoining room. Sue looked out of the window. There was only one leaf left on the creeper plant. There was heavy rain accompanied by strong cold winds. The leaf was due to fall any moment. Berman did not say anything and went back to his room. Johnsy woke up next morning in a feeble voice. Dear students, feeble voice means weak voice. She asked Sue to draw the curtains. Sue was nervous. She drew back the curtains very reluctantly. The next morning, Johnsy woke up and in a weak voice asked Johnsy to open the curtains. Sue was worried and hesitantly drew them back. Oh! Sue exclaimed as she looked at the vine creeper. Look, there is still one leaf on the creeper. It looks quite green and healthy. In spite of the storm and the fierce winds, it didn't fall. Sue was glad as she announced that there still was one leaf on the creeper. It appeared green and healthy. It had not fallen despite the storm. I heard the wind last night, said Johnsy. I thought it would have fallen. It will surely fall today, then I will die. You won't die, said Sue energetically. You have to live for your friends. What would happen to me if you die? Johnsy smiled meekly and closed her eyes. After every hour or so, she would look out of the window and find the leaf still there. It seemed to be clinging to the creeper. Johnsy said that she had heard the winds the previous night. She had thought that the leaf would definitely fall. She added that it would fall that day, and then she would die too. But Sue said that Johnsy would not die. She had to live for her friends. She added that she would become lonely if Johnsy died. Johnsy smiled and closed her eyes. She was weak. After almost every hour, she would look out if the leaf was still there or not. It seemed that the leaf was stuck to the creeper. In the evening, there was another storm, but the leaf did not fall. Johnsy lay for a long time, looking at the leaf. Then she called out Sue. I have been a bad girl. You have looked after me so lovingly, and I have not cooperated with you. I have been depressed and gloomy. The last leaf has shown me how wicked I have been. I have realized that it is a sin to want to die. Sue hugged Johnsy. Then she gave her lots of hot soup and a mirror. Johnsy combed her hair and smiled brightly. There was another storm that evening, but the leaf did not fall. Johnsy kept on looking at it, and then she called Sue. Johnsy said that she had been a bad girl. Sue looked after her while she did not cooperate and remained sad. The lost leaf had made her realize her mistakes. She said that the desire to die was a wrong one. Sue was glad to see the change in Johnsy. She got soup for her, gave her a mirror to tidy her hair. Johnsy was happy and bright. In the afternoon, the doctor came. After examining his patient, he told Sue, Johnsy now has the will to live. I'm confident she will recover soon. Now I must go downstairs and see Berman. He is also suffering from pneumonia, but I'm afraid there is no hope for him. The doctor visited that afternoon and said that the desire to live was back in Johnsy. He was sure that she would recover soon. He went downstairs to check Berman, who was suffering from pneumonia, and there was no hope that he would recover. The next morning, Sue came and sat on Johnson's bed. Taking Johnson's hand in hers, she said, "I have something to tell you. Mr. Berman died of pneumonia this morning. He was ill for only 2 days. The first day, the janitor found him on his bed." Dear students, make a note of this. The word janitor means the caretaker of the building. His clothes and shoes were wet and he was shivering. He had been out in that stormy night. The next morning, Sue sat beside Johnsy and told her that Berman died that morning. He had been ill for the last 2 days. The caretaker of the building had found him in his bed. His clothes and shoes were wet and he was shivering. He had gone out at the night during the storm. Then they found a ladder and a lantern still lighted lying near his bed. There were also some brushes and green and yellow paints on the floor near the ladder. "Johnsy dear," said Sue, "look out of the window. Look at that ivy leaf. Haven't you wondered why it doesn't flutter when the wind blows? That's Berman's masterpiece. He painted it the night the last leaf fell." A ladder and a lantern were lying near his bed. Paint brushes, green and yellow colored paint, were also lying nearby. Sue asked Johnsy to look at the leaf. It did not flutter when the wind blew. She said it was the masterpiece that Berman aspired to paint. When the last leaf fell at night, he painted this one to save Johnsy. Dear students, we have come to an end of the chapter, The Lost Leaf. I hope all of you have understood this chapter really well. In the chapter, The Lost Leaf, we learn the theme of commitment, sacrifice, friendship, compassion, hope, and dedication. If possible, let us try to inculcate all these good qualities in our life. I hope you all have understood the theme also. I'm going to come up with another video. Until then, bye students. Take care.